Welcome to Off the Post, brought to you by Lights On Electric and Cover All Exteriors. I'm Russ Cohen. We've got Anthony Mingione. And how are you?
You think we're getting finally into the thawing period here, Russell, or what?
Yeah, it seems that way.
Everything's receding. It feels like the late ice age as the snow starts.
The ice age is going away. Yep, the birds are back. It's all getting good. And we have Michael Jello. Mike, how are you?
Yeah, it thaws and then it freezes again, and then you slip on the ice
it's true. You got to be careful.
Break your ass. Let me just get the first kick in. Mike Sullivan is a moron. Okay.
So we'll expand on that. That's a very brief statement. Let's talk about
only won how many Stanley Cups as a head coach, but go ahead.
Right. Let's talk about Team USA in Denmark. The interesting thing is, before the tournament began, and I honestly believe this, I do believe that Jake Ottinger is their best goalie. But here's the problem, and this is throughout the Olympics. These Olympic bodies, these other coaches, now it's different with Team USA, and we'll get to that, but they all have different ideas about things. And a lot of times what a player does in the NHL is insignificant to them. A lot of it is political. So sometimes goalies don't get in there that should get in there. Sometimes players don't see a lot of ice time. This happens every Olympics. But with Team USA, it's different because you get coaches that are from the NHL and they know these players intimately, and they still get it wrong. And so, like yesterday with the goaltending, they definitely got it wrong. Like I remember saying on a couple shows ago, I would never give the keys to Jeremy Swayman, and I meant it. I said it way before he had his meltdown in that game, and it was bad. Mike brought up the great point that if you truly want to save Connor Hellebuck, why wasn't Ottinger the backup for that game anyhow? Why was it Hellebuck? What did Ottinger do to become the non-goalie here? He's a really good goalie. He may have the best reflexes for a small rink, but they'll never know. I just don't get any of it, honestly.
Unless he has COVID or he's got the Novo virus or whatever the hell.
And I do wonder a little bit about that because it just seemed so off.
Right. I mean, and I don't know whether somebody asked Sullivan the question, but there's a need of an explanation here. Okay, you don't want to use Hellebuck. It's back-to-back games. You're playing Germany today, so you don't want to use him. Then sit him in the friggin' crowd. Have Ottinger as your backup, and if Swayman stinks up the rink like he did yesterday with that Tommy Salo center ice shot, honestly, at 4-3 going into the third period, they were in trouble until the Gensel goal made it 5-3. I mean, it was a tenuous situation, and against Denmark, and they didn't even have their best goalie in there. They had Matt Sogard in there. So it's like, I mean, this is now okay. From now on, we know Hellebuck is going to be in. Yeah. But I'm sorry if today against Germany, Jake Ottinger is not the backup, then he's either hurt or sick, or Mike Sullivan is a moron. Pick your choice.
I'm going to assume Mike Sullivan isn't a moron, but that might be that could be dangerous. That could be dangerous for me, but I don't. It was very strange to me, and I get okay. We're going to put Swayman in against arguably the potentially weakest of the opponents here. But man, oh man, did that feel like a grenade that went off on? Didn't it?
All three goals, Anthony, were shit.
I know. I saw them, and it's just like, wow.
And on top of that, and far be it from me to be the defender of anybody on the Buffalo Sabres or their organization, but you're telling me in a game when it's 4-3 in the third period, and one of your best snipers on that team is Tage Thompson, and you look at the time on ice at the end of the game, and he's 9 minutes and 12 seconds. Vincent Trocheck and JT Miller played, I think, 12 and 13 minutes. What the hell are you doing?
It's a meritocracy, Michael. Didn't you know?
Honor tradition.
Yeah. Time immemorial. Time immemorial when it
guys,
comes to like this. Yeah, and it's true. But again, if you're Sullivan now, you have to look at it one of two ways. Is it is this kind of a game where it got closer than expected? Can have a smelling salts effect on Team USA to realize, hey, you can't, no matter who it is, you can't throttle back. And number two, you have to look at it and say, are the guys we have out there the best, most optimal lineup that we have?
Well, the the hilarious thing, Anthony, is in the post game press conference, somebody asked about Clayton Keller and because he hasn't played yet, and he's like, "Whoa, we have an all-star team, and it's tough. It's tough for a player to get in there." It's like, oh, okay, but you're playing two, and don't get me wrong, I think Vincent Trocheck is a very good role player, and at the NHL level is a very good second line center, penalty killer, face-off guy. I like Vincent Trocheck. I think most NHL teams would like him. But in this instance, I mean, I think Clayton Keller is a better player.
Oh, he's better than at least three guys on the team. But
I think he's better than JT Miller.
Of course he is. Like, I don't even think that's a question. Like, it's not even arguable. But again, this is what happens.
There's at least a couple players that could easily be swapped out, in my opinion.
Yeah, but look, Sweden wasn't playing Elias Pettersson for a while. Then they started playing him, and sure enough, he gets 2 goals. Like, this is OEL got like 6 minutes in one game, Mike, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, let's use OEL."
I do wonder sometimes though about the I know the NHL teams aren't going to be telling the coaches how to play and how many minutes to give a player and things of that sort. But there's times I kind of wonder sometimes as to whether or not, quietly that occurs if there's any pre-existing maybe dings on a player.
Well, I don't think so.
Well, I don't think so either. It's kind of like, hey, if you got other options. If our guy can kind of be, you can put him out there, play him, but don't overuse him.
Well, guys are getting overused. I mean,
that's the given. Yes.
Apparently, in particular with Sweden, there's a lot of political bullcrap going on with their coach. Now, the funny thing is, Russ, he was the coach of Vaxo when they won the SHL title. I think it was in 2021.
Okay.
Who their best player was Pontus Holmberg.
So that's why he's getting so much playing time.
Is playing more than Philip Forsberg. Are you bleeping kidding me? I mean, that's what I mean. No, don't get me wrong. I want the Swedes to go down in flames. I want everybody else.
Well, I don't, only because I picked them, but that's okay. I get it.
But I mean, they're starting the wrong goalie. They
clearly starting the wrong goalie. But again,
right, but all this political stuff. I mean, Juha Jalonen, who was the Finnish coach, who won, I think, who was their coach in the Olympics 4 years ago. He's coaching Italy now. It's like,
we'll get to those other teams, but I want to get back to Sweden just for one moment because they deserve to drop in the standings for having Jacob Markstrom in a game, period. Again, he'd given up 9 goals recently. Was he all of a sudden magically going to be better? And of course, he coughed one up late that even though they won the game, it cost them in the standings. And it's just
now they're in the regulation pool because they would, and that's that's
a big deal.
That's one more game that you have to play. And
why would Markstrom even be in there? Wallstedt's way better, but again, reputation.
Because Russ, we've said it all along. Sweden has a hierarchy when it comes, especially to their goaltender. They're going to go to the veteran guy, even if the veteran guy is spent. I mean, the last couple times that Henrik Lundqvist was in there in, like, say, the World Championships, the great goalie that he is, the Hall of Famer that he is, he was not the best goalie. So they kept him in, and they had to go to Markstrom after Gustafsson coughed up the fur ball.
Right. Yeah, I guess. I mean, again, they may not get it right. Denmark's having some fun with their goalies because, like Freddie Anderson, what's going on with Freddie Anderson, Mike?
He wasn't even the backup, so he must be hurt. I mean, when
here it comes, here comes Russell.
Right. Well, no, what in this? Hey,
we don't know, but I don't know if he's hurt. I can't say that.
In this instance, a broken clock is right twice a day, and Russ is right on this one. And okay. If he was dinged coming into this tournament, then you had to have a third string option. The problem is it's Denmark. I don't know if they have a third string option. He's probably playing in Austria or Germany.
We saw Matt Sogaard get hurt.
And Matt Sogaard got hurt now. So now if Anderson's hurt and Sogaard's hurt, then this third goalie who came in, who I don't even know.
He's from the World Championships. That's all I know. I forget his name. Starts with a D.
Yeah. But here's the funny thing. And I know we're going to, I'm assuming we're going to get to Fiala in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
injuries have played a part here so far, and shock. And I'm sure Gary Bettman is writing down every friggin' name because
He's not.
But no, he is, Russ, because he's against this. He can't say that he's against it because it's great high, but he's against this. And his owners are against it. That's the big thing.
Well, that's true.
Yes.
Before we get into the injury thing, and we'll get into the injury bug, and I did watch some of that Czechia France game, and Dan Vladar, and they are calling him Vladar, the British guy, who, by the way, is lovely. The British
It's Western Europe. Anything west of like anything west of Germany is going to be saying Vladar.
I know they're not changing it, even though we're not pronouncing it right. But I do want to say that British announcer is lovely. This guy is really good. It's a change up from what
absolutely.
we hear.
It's also like listening, like when they had the British announcer in the Super Bowl,
right?
Like anybody, I always tell everybody, go watch the Cooper DeJean interception of Patrick Mahomes with the British announcer.
Right.
You know, it was like
it's great with the British announcer, but I want to say, I think, and again, this is me, and I've said it all year. I think with Vladar, the Flyers really have to manage his final stretch.
Oh, absolutely.
Carefully,
I'm going to be getting, and that's a
little
bit of a tease. My next piece actually for Hockey Hot Stuff is going to be about, Vladar coming into the stretch, his the fact that I believe that the Flyers need to begin the process of an extension with him, and how also how his management down the stretch is going to be key in making that determination. So
he gave up
there's a part of me that's almost this kind of like hoping, because obviously the Czechs lost today to the Swiss, that if the Czechs get parked here, that you can get him back and have him, rest and recover predominantly for the stretch run. So, but yeah, that's a big thing to consider there, Russ, for sure.
Yeah, I didn't like the game against France. Like, he gave up a couple of bad ones in that one.
Yeah, again, I don't know necessarily that the international space is always kind to some goalies, especially if they've had, as you said, if they're coming in with a heftier workload than they have had in the past.
Yeah, I think it all plays into it.
Maybe is not quite as fresh, and the Czech goaltending situation is what it is. So
yeah. So speaking of players who are not quite as fresh, now we'll get into some of the injuries. I was watching the Germany game, and they were quickly showing in the second period that Leon Draisaitl had basically ice on his pinky, like anytime he was on the bench, or at least when they showed it. And you could see now he is not shooting his shot as well as he could, and it's affecting that team, and it's going to affect the Oilers. So, Mike, here we go. Here's the Mike injury report and why the Olympics should never happen. Go ahead, Mike.
Wow, thanks.
The Olympics should never happen. He's saying that the American.
Thanks for that setup, Russ. No, I'm putting myself in the place of the owners. And if I'm an owner of an NHL team, and I'm struggling here with Draisaitl, I think he's making 12.5 or 13 million.
Yeah, that's about right.
I'm paying this guy 13 million. I'm not paying him to jaunt off to friggin' Italy to break his goddamn finger. It's like, okay, it's like I understand that they want to go play for their country, and unless the Olympics moves the hockey tournament to the summer,
it was like that originally,
right? In 1920, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, but okay, that would make sense. But of course, it's ice hockey. It's part of the win. They really have no signature event at the Winter Olympics other than figure skating if they remove hockey. So I get that.
Well,
but
they have curling, but a lot of people cheat in curling now. So anyhow, we'll get back to hockey.
Yeah, sorry for our Canadian viewers, but when you push the rock, you can't push it with your finger too and guide it like a rudder.
And the rock only comes from a special island where the course is made.
End the whole sport, because if you have to cheat at curling, you really have a problem. That's all I'm going to say. It's barely a sport.
Come on, Russell. You ain't cheating. You ain't trying.
And you okay, thank you, Jim Rome. And you really have a problem if you anger the Swedes, because that's who there was almost a fight on the
Well, who was it? Somebody was taking pictures when they're not supposed to. I think that was the issue.
No. It was the illegal pushing of the.
Illegal pushing. Got it.
And then there was a problem with the.
I thought you guys referred to the recording.
No. The women's team had a problem too.
So here's my rant, and it's like, and you know, I've made it before the Olympics. I'll make it after the Olympics. I'll make it till time immemorial, till I'm 6 feet under.
2 time immemorials for this show.
Oh, did I? Okay, thank you.
I had the first one.
Oh, I'm sorry. You influenced me there, Anthony. Okay, in 2014, when John Tavares hurt his knee at the Olympics, couldn't finish the Olympics, and then came back, and the Islanders were, I think, 3 or 4 points out of a playoff spot. Their chances of making the playoffs were shot. Okay. Panarin goes to the LA Kings. That's a boost to them. Now they lose one of their best wingers in Fiala. So now, I'm sorry, I think the Kings are not going to make the playoffs because of this injury. Maybe Panarin has a good effect on them, but this is the problem here. You know, William Nylander with Toronto, he's not practicing there. He's pushing through an injury. If he comes back and they immediately have to put him on IR, these teams are being affected. On top of the ridiculous NHL Olympics schedule where they come in weakened because they're playing 3 games in 4 nights almost every week. So either you start your season in September and you give them a longer period of time, or you don't go to the Olympics. One or the other.
Well, that's
Here ended my rant.
That's for the next collective bargaining agreement, which who knows how that'll go. But
yeah. And that's that's after the next Olympics in France. So it's like the next CBA is 2030. So they get one more of these, and hopefully this time they start like the regular season on Labor Day or something like that.
I agree with that. I think that's the way to do it. Is
the way to do it.
With it being so compacted the way it's been this year, it's just been ridiculous. There's just it's bad. It's turned into bad. It's been bad hockey this year. It's the reason why the standings are as ridiculously tight as they've been for most of it, and not in a good way. Not in a good way.
Well, I'm sure Mike will be out there cheering for the World Baseball Classic soon. So
yeah.
Yeah. And then when Aaron Judge breaks his twig, that I'm sure Yankee fans will be all for the WBC.
Yes. I did want to mention congratulations to Latvia for winning their first Olympic hockey game in 12 years and 4th ever. And that was a big deal. I did write about it for Hockey Hot Stove. I did a fair amount of Albert Smith's coverage, but I covered some of the other guys. The Bruins have a good
Zemgus Girgensons, hockey hero.
Listen, Girgensons had 2 primary assists.
Yeah, Albert Smith is going to be everybody's going to be focused in on him. I mean, it's understandable. We're looking at a guy who might be possibly a top 5 pick.
I think he could be. The interesting thing is, though, I still don't have him as the top defenseman because I don't know he's
top defenseman, but I would say
I think he's the second.
I think we have a triumvirate basically. I think it's 3 guys. I think it's Verhoff, him, probably Reed. I guess would be your third. That's probably your big 3 where you look at any of those 3 guys and say that guy might be a number 1D.
But Smits did have some good nasty hits. He did show some good puck retrieval. He got a nice assist on really good board play on one of their important goals in their win. So he's had a really good effect. But much like Juraj Slafkovsky, it's still like Slafkovsky is still the highest scoring guy in his draft class, but only because Logan Cooley got hurt. Otherwise, Cooley would be ahead of him by now.
Right.
And so, you do have to watch that as an NHL team. Like, we're watching games on smaller ice with different players. Yeah. So, like, from a draft standpoint, it can get tricky, but he's holding his own. Like, he's looking good.
The biggest thing you're looking at is how is he competing against, especially against against rosters that will have more NHL players on it, and that's the big thing. You can project ice surface, everything else, but the competitive, you're looking for other things too. You're looking for the competitive, their willingness to compete, to not be intimidated by the moment. And that's something that I do like about Smits. And that's one of the reasons why I think, like I said before, when Flyer fans have asked me, I said, Flyers end up top 5, top 6, top 7, and Albert Smits is there. I don't think
you wouldn't even hesitate.
I wouldn't even hesitate. There. I don't think, the centers are okay in this draft, but
no, you wouldn't even hesitate.
If you're in the top 10 and Smits is there, you're beholden to make that pick, in my opinion.
And don't feel left out, Canada, that we haven't talked about.
No, we're getting there.
Okay,
Yeah,
because
we're getting
okay, I just wanted to make sure that they don't.
No. I did it on purpose. We're getting there because
Just teeing it up.
I've seen a lot of talk about how the top line for Canada could be the best line we've ever seen in Olympic history. And I just want to say this is where my age comes in because, again, I go back to the 72 Olympics and that Soviet team, who was also in the Summit Series, that same top line with Harlamov and Petrov, and that one is still the best line I've ever seen because, again, in the Summit Series, and that's not the Olympics. I mean, they beat Canada like 7-3 in that first game. They did lose.
And Cooper is also not. I don't think he's completely said he's committed to that line.
No, I don't think he is.
No, he's just loading up and providing a bad matchup to the teams.
But the Soviets won 4 or 5 golds in a row in the Olympics for a reason. For a reason.
To me, the KLM line is the best line. Or, if you want to say, and wasn't the McGillney Fedorov Bure line, wasn't that line together at the Olympics?
It was, but I still think the 72 one's better.
Yeah, but and don't get me wrong. I mean, they're fun.
This is a tremendous line. It'll be in the top 5.
But the thing is, it's not a real line because if you're if you're moving McKinnon up there and then you're putting McKinnon on the wing with McDavid and Celebrini or McDavid and Wilson, whatever combination you want. I mean, okay, nobody can match up to that, not even the Americans. But I don't think you can play that line, play 2 centers out of play and play that that's a line you put together if you're down by 2 or 3 goals and you have to create. I think one of the advantages that the Canadians have is, McDavid line 1, McKinnon line 2, Crosby line 3. I mean, holy shit! I mean, good luck. But
I think Crosby's going to play in another Olympics. I really do. I don't.
Well, he's playing right now. Sure, that's not.
Why wouldn't he? I mean, I honestly feel like I'm going to say this now about Sidney Crosby. We're going to be having Tom Brady conversations and saying at 42 he's still, because I think just how he physically keeps himself and how he's still able to be productive. It's just I think I truly believe that. I mean, that's the kind of player that I think we're looking at, that he keeps himself in such phenomenal shape that he's able to do. They'll be able to do this.
And Pittsburgh has recreated themselves where we thought that they were going to be, go down in the depths. I mean, they've sort of kept things together, and they've brought in younger players like Chinnikov, and they're sort of doing a reset in place with Malkin, with Crosby. I mean, they're going to lose Letang. Letang's probably going to retire, but they're still a competitive team, and he could win another Stanley Cup 2 or 3 years down the road if he wants to keep going. But I mean, let's just say this: the one thing I think Canada has to guard against, and maybe this won't even be a factor because Cooper is somebody who's keeping them on the straight and narrow, is hubris, because they're the best team in the tournament. There's no doubt to me that they're the best.
I mean, they may be. I'm not sure they have the most talent. I'll say that.
Yeah, they have the most talent. I think the U.S. is close to them, but the U.S. has to prove. This is the argument that I make, Russ, when I talk about the Maple Leafs. Okay, you're a good team. You could win it all. Now, bleep and show me, because
they haven't shown me anything. Honestly.
Right. I mean, if anything, you've shown me that you were 1-1 with Latvia. I mean, you got screwed by the referees on the Brock Nelson goal because I thought JT Miller wasn't interfering with Merzlikins, but it was 1-1 going into the second period, and then you put the hammer down. In this game, it was 4-2, and you had Denmark on the ropes, and then Swayman gives up that goal with 2 seconds left to go in the second period. And until the Gensel goal, they were on the ropes. They were against Denmark. I don't put anything like I thought Germany. With Stützle, with Draisaitl, with Peterka, Seider, with a Grubauer in goal, they're going to be. They should win. But will they win? Because the other two teams,
I think the thing is, if you're Sullivan, you have to really use the Denmark game as a tool here to emphasize this to your lineup, to say that, hey, guys, they got uncomfortably close, and we have to play better than this.
And this is a good year for Grubauer. Grubauer is playing well in this tournament. He's having a good season.
So one of two ways this can go for Team USA: either they heed the warning, or they end up going off a cliff sooner than they'd like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see if they're.
I mean, nobody wants to go off a cliff, period. But
yeah,
Well, someone Louise did, but otherwise, no.
if the U.S. is holding back, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
I don't see Canada holding back. I mean, today Canada plays France. They're going to beat France like Germany beat them in 1940.
Oh my God! Do we really have to have a Wehrmacht reference here in the middle of hockey?
They're going to be marching down the Champs-Elysees with the 6 SS Panzer Division.
Oh my God, Russ! Oh my God, Russ! You cut his mic. Cut his mic.
It's history, guys. I'm not advocating Nazism.
It's the Olympics. We don't necessarily need to, that imagery. Thank you.
But here's the bigger discussion, and this is, I'll bring it back to the NHL.
Thank you.
If for some reason the San Jose Sharks, who by the way had a horrible gaffe towards the end of their season on Latin Heritage Night. If you want to go watch the video, go watch the video. It was brutal. But anyhow, Macklin Celebrini, he's exceeded everybody's expectations.
Yes.
If the Sharks were to be a playoff team, he is a legit Hart Trophy candidate.
No, I agree. That's the key. But that's, I know people are going to get mad. Do you have, in order to be a Hart Trophy candidate, does your team have to make the playoffs? The answer to that question to me is yes. Especially when you're considering a player as young as Macklin Celebrini.
Correct.
If he is the reason why your team has made one of the biggest reasons why your team has made the postseason, and he's played at the level that he's played, that to me is like the ultimate thing where at that point he is at the minimum in the top three in the final, at least in the final, amongst the finals, because it's just a remarkable jump for him, not just from himself developmentally, but how that's pulled the Sharks into contention way sooner than any of us ever expected.
Mike?
Well, I think he was a legitimate candidate even before they had a chance to make the playoffs, but we know how the NHL works in terms of if they're close, he's just dominant.
I think you can absolutely consider if they're close. Yes, if they make it, I think it's a case where I think he has to be.
He's not going to. I don't think he'll win.
I'm not saying he's going to win it. I'm not going there.
I think he'll be in the top three. If they make the playoffs, he'll be in the top three with McKinnon and McDavid. Yeah. I think that
that would be
of course people in the East will get mad about that because there'll be three Western guys and they're not going to be happy.
Well, sometimes that happens.
But the reality is, at the end of the day, the reality is the reality for this year. So
we always hear about Eastern bias that this would turn the tables.
Yeah, to me, Russ, if they're close to making the postseason, does he deserve to be necessarily in that top
conversation?
In the conversation for sure. If they make it, he should absolutely be in the final three.
Right. Yeah, I agree with all of that. I think Mike right now is playing historic Wordle. Mike's filling in the word blitzkrieg for the listeners out there.
Did he put in Wehrmacht yet? Seriously.
Wait. We had a Waffen SS mention in the show today.
I'm waiting for Panzers, whatever else we're going to throw in here today with World War II references.
I'm impressed, Russ.
In the middle of the Olympics.
Blitzkrieg. There you go. No,
yeah.
But let's bring this back to the NHL because all the rumor guys, all the insiders. Elliott is over in Milan, so you're not hearing a lot of that. They're focused on the games and that they should be. But that there's going to be a sprint from like the gold medal game is the 22nd. On the 23rd, it's going to be back to full pedal down, and quickly want to go through our teams. Somebody in the chat was like, Anthony, do you think there's anything to these Stolars, the Philadelphia rumors?
So we talked about this previously on the last show, but I'll go over this again. The problem with Stolars to me is the contract. It's just too long for a guy who's been for a player who's been injury prone. You're basically, he's practically got NHL starter money in this circumstance. The biggest thing for me is they've got to, I know you can say borderline on that, but you're already considering what you're going to be paying for Vladar.
Yeah.
I just feel like I don't see them going. I don't see the Flyers going down that path. If he didn't already have that contract in place already, maybe they would. I think maybe he's a consideration then without a longer term commitment.
If it's not
to me on him with his injury history, I'm sorry, it's just not gonna.
If it's not Philadelphia, I think there's somebody who would take him because the term on the deal is stinky. But the AAV is not ridiculous with the cap going.
It's not. But if you're Philly,
you're going to
want to have it. If you're looking at Vladar, to me, the offer if Philly's going here is probably it's going 3 years.
Yeah.
Right. So and you're talking 4, and then you want to make sure the door is open potentially for two years down the line for Bjarnason.
Right.
3 to 4 years down the line for an Evgeny Zhivragin when he comes over. You make those contracts that kind of becomes obviously they're going to need time to develop because goaltenders always take a little while to develop. But I just between his injury history and everything else and the 4-year term limit, I'm not keen on that. There's other pathways for Philadelphia to look for a backup.
I don't think it's a good move for Philadelphia, but for a team out there like say, and you brought him up the last time, like Utah, who has Vemelka, who I think is a good number one, but not a great number one. Mm-hmm. You need a good number 2 complete.
No, I think you can make the argument.
It depends on who else they have in the system that they're looking at for Utah in terms of their goaltending as well. Maybe anybody who they're projecting, but they're looking at going, we're looking at least 3 years down the line before we have any goaltending prospects. Right. And again, anybody who wants to go and take a look at the Mammoths prospect chart, feel free.
Yeah.
But I just. Maybe it makes more sense for them.
Now, Russ, somebody in the chats asked about Trocheck, about the Rangers and
I don't think they're going to move him. I think it'll be all the talk. I think TSN will have him high on the list, and I think Mike Sullivan will try and block that as much as he can. And I think it might be a bone of contention if Chris Drury does try and trade him. Look how he's playing him in the Olympics. I think that's an indicator of what he thinks of him.
Yeah, but I look at it also as like, to me, I keep having Minnesota in my head with Trocheck.
Yeah, sure, everybody does,
which makes sense, obviously with him and Garin. But what would be worth the return for Drury/Sullivan in this circumstance if that happened? I mean, we talked about it in the last show that Charlie Strammel's probably a part of that conversation if that deal actually happens, but. That will be it. They get Minnesota goes and gets Trocheck. That's about as. I mean, listen, we know the Hughes trade was an all-in move. This would certainly solidify that.
Yeah, I think the Alexi Lafreniere talk will increase.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's somebody who they could dangle out there, who they could get a decent amount.
I'll say this as well, just not from the Ranger perspective, but I do wonder a little bit, and I mentioned this in the blog for the show is, Rasmus Ristolainen's having a pretty solid tournament right now. Yeah. Whether or not this is like the optimal time here where a team goes and says, okay, maybe for the stretch run in the end, a conditional pick trade. But again, it comes down to, for Philadelphia, it's also, if you let Ristolainen go, I do believe it is a signal.
It is a signal, and that's why they're going to wait.
You're saying that you don't, we're not going to be in the playoff fight, and that can be deflated if they have it in their head, they still think they have a shot at it, and the players certainly want to have that coming out of the break. But if you're dealing Ristolainen coming out of the break, say for example, or in that stretch before the deadline, you are sending a signal to the room that
no question
we don't think you guys are going to make it. But then that ship may have already sailed already.
Correct.
Because of what happened in January, and there's really the room has to look at and say
he's the right-handed defensive version of Stolarz. He's somebody that you can't trust in terms of not getting injured. And when you're going
in, like I said, the thing is when he's in that, the Flyers actually have what I would say is a solid NHL defense.
I'm not disputing that.
But if you're Danny Briere, right, and you've gotten legit offers on him, I wouldn't even let him play again. I can't even let him play.
I mean, that would be, listen, he's already in the tournament at this point already, but he's playing now, so there's a risk there.
But he's not a rental. He's got another year, doesn't he?
Right.
He's got
he does, and that's a risk that another team's going to necessarily take if he's got injury. And that's sort of the counterbalance for Briere, is you're getting a year plus of control with that contract, but the other team's going to turn around and say, yeah, but the injury concern, it mitigates that, and that's where things get difficult. And Philly, I'm sure, doesn't want to necessarily, get hosed. And I know, listen, Briere's taken a beating over the last month. I think some of the fan base has gotten overboard with the, but again, this is what happens when you go through a skid and you're struggling and, and have issues with, your star player and everything else. Yeah. So this is part of it.
Russ, by the way, I looked up the Utah goaltending depth chart.
Thank you, Michael.
They have Michael Horabel.
Horabel could be really good. So
but
how many years? How far away is he?
He's a junior at UMass, so he's probably 2 to 3 years away. So if they went for a veteran goaltender and they want to get into the playoffs, and you have Melka and Stolars, that might be a move, and it probably won't cost them a lot because the Leafs are looking to jettison him because now they have Hildeby and they can get cheaper in goal and have a good tandem. So
that's the last guy to answer Johnny. I said Lafreniere, and Braden Schneider would be the other one. I think. He just hasn't fit in well with Sullivan. I think you can get a lot for him. I think there's a market for Braden.
What do we think? What do we think with regards to the Kings now with Fiala? Are they? They're going to have. Are they going to have to be in the market again for another?
They're going to pretend they're in the playoff hunt. I don't think they are, but
Randy's saying, Bobby McMahon. Okay, do you want to give your first round pickup, because that's basically what it sounds like the Leafs are looking for.
Right.
For Bobby McMahon. And
that's too steep for me to do on a team that may not make it.
Right. And then I completely agree. And the thing is, okay, you can top 10 protect it or push it or whatever. There is some talk, because somebody was asking how much do you think the Leafs would sell? Well, if you listen to Darren Drager, they're not going to sell at all. What a load of shit. My God. I'll say this, and I'm not ripping on Drager. What I'm saying is there's always this counter argument. Everybody is saying that they're going to sell. And now they're putting it out there. Oh, man, maybe we're not going to sell, because if they say that they're not going to sell, then they can say, we'll sell if we get this price. And that's what's
every team does that. It's sort of like, it's the classic, we're not making calls, but our line's open.
No, they're making calls. Everybody. Trust me, everybody.
We're not making calls, but we're taking calls.
Well, the thing is, there's only 3 games until the trading deadline coming out of this Olympic break, so everybody's making calls. They can't even say that now.
And I would be shocked that if we don't see 3 or 4 trades coming right out of it.
I anticipate it right after the tournament, as soon as it's over and the freeze is done.
And to answer Randy,
multiple deals coming out, I think.
To answer Randy, I think Nazem Kadri is one of them.
Yeah, so, okay, and I'll just go quickly through Toronto. I think McMahon is definitely gone. I think they will trade one of the centers, depending on if they get Lawton signed to the extension, which I've heard they're working on it during the break. If they sign Lawton, I think they trade Nick Waugh. If they can't sign Lawton, they're going to trade Lawton because he's a rental. I think they'll trade one of the defensemen. I'm leaning toward Ekman Larson. There's talk about Carolina. There's talk about Edmonton. The whole key here is they need to recoup draft capital. They're probably for 2 or 3 of these guys, and they'll probably trade Yarn Croaks or some, get low round picks. They need to get 2 or 3 picks up in the second, first round to recoup and rebuild some of that draft capital.
To make up for the one of the things is obviously making up for that 27 Lawton pick that they lost.
Right, exactly. So somebody was asking about the Sabres and Colton Ellis. I don't see the Sabres.
They like him. He's not going anywhere.
I don't think.
Actually, if you're going to ask me, I keep saying this. If you're going to ask me about a goalie trade for Philadelphia, I've already said it already. I think Devin Levi would be the guy for them.
And that's the thing. And like we just said with Hildeby in Toronto, Devin Levi is not waiver exempt next year. Right. Isak Rozan, the player who's burning up the American Hockey League right now, is not waiver exempt next year. That means either now before the deadline or in the summer you're moving him. So if you are Jarmo Kekalainen and you have an opportunity to break that 14-year drought, I'm telling you right now, you make that trade if you get something that helps you. And I don't know what that would be, because maybe another defenseman. I mean, because Michael Kesselring can't stay healthy, but it's like, I mean, there are a few needs on that team, and if you could push them right over the line, then they'll make the playoffs, and then everybody here will be happy when they lose in the first round. If they lose in the first round, because they could play Tampa or something like that, and I don't think they'll be favored. But the Sabres need to do something. I just don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, the only thing is, Mike, with the Rosine thing, I get these vibes, and he's not the same player, trust me. But back in the day when I was first covering the Rangers, Brad Smith was a guy that, had the nickname of shooter, and he had 50 goals one year for Hartford. He had 34, and he comes up to the Rangers, and he doesn't look very good. So
yeah, no, I mean that Russ, that's very possible. That's very possible with Isaac Howard. That's very possible with Matthew Savoy, with some of these guys who are unproven in the NHL, who have done. I mean, Roseanne has been in the American Hockey League for 3 years. If he hasn't mastered that, then he's not an NHL player. He's got 24 goals in like 31 games. That's unbelievable. I don't know whether he can translate that into NHL success, but I do know that they're not going to give him away or let him escape for nothing. So that's why I'm saying, if you're going to make a move, this is the time to make a move. And Randy is like Mangiapane and a number 1 for Bobby McMahon. That might be very close to what they're looking for, because they need.
Yeah, but Mangiapane could be like a no-sum pickup there.
Well, no, they're dumping Mangiapane's contract. I think they're just taking. Now,
again, if it's a means of getting draft capital,
right, then you do it.
Then you do it, because you're losing a roster spot. You put the other guy in there, right, and then you just kind of go with it. And
I think it's going to take more than a number 1 if it's a McMahon deal.
Someone suggested Simone Benoit to Buffalo.
Yeah,
Terry 3Gs mentioned it.
Here's what I mentioned for the Sharks.
I could actually see that. I could see Benoit going to Buffalo.
Yeah, here's what I would mention to Fusebox about the Sharks. If the Sharks look like they get close, or it's getting close to the deadline and they're in it, Luke Schenn.
Yeah, no, and
he would be perfect for them.
And not Morgan Riley, because
no, Luke Schenn would make sense.
There is this ridiculous talk out here, and we talked about it last week, but it continues to sort of percolate, because everybody's like, the Morgan Riley's going to San Jose. I mean, if Morgan Riley's going to San Jose, Morgan Riley is saying, I want to go to San Jose, because then that would be a complete change of direction, because he said he wanted to stay in Toronto and he was using his no move clause to block it. So it's very convenient that he seems to be the punching bag for Maple Leaf fans right now, because he has slowed down and he's not the same defenseman that he was a couple years ago. He's got 4 years left in his contract. I'm sorry. There's a better chance of him getting bought out than him getting traded.
I just want to ask you this, Mike, and then we're going to close up shop. My prediction is, when the Leafs acquire Braden Schenn, what will they have traded for him, and how will you react?
Well, this is the hilarious thing, because Brad Terliving was going to trade both Cowan and Danford in a deal for Braden Schenn, and then they couldn't get Luke Schenn, and that saved them. But then they traded Fraser Minton to get Carlo. I mean, so yeah,
they wanted Boardwalk in Park Place, and they couldn't do it, so they decided not to do it.
Well, that's Russ. All that shows is that they were so all in last year to making that run with Marner, and that they weren't convinced that they were going to be able to pass Marner, that they were going to push all their chips, which meant throw every young prospect in the organization for a 34-year-old guy who is broken down. It's like it's unbelievable. I
still think they might do it, Mike, because I still think
they're not.
We'll see.
They're not. There's no way.
We'll see. I know there's always a way.
If they do, that. Oh, never mind. I'm not.
No, go ahead.
No. I'm not going to say it.
All right. That's it for Off the Post. We'll catch everybody next time.
Take care, everybody.